Here we go, Holy Crusaders on that blue side. We'll have to see what the first ban will be. A lot to choose from. It looks like Violet will be going back to that 80 carry, so a little bit different from what we've seen. They will be swapping it back to normal. But again, very solid bot lane pick here.
We saw the dominance from the Mel yesterday. Wasn't it such a strong, just a powerful performance on multiple games? Will we be getting that again? Do you think that's going to be the theme? A lot of Mels coming out, pick or ban for this tournament.
I mean, I hope so. She's my favorite champion, so
of course,
I hope to see her as much as I can. I mean, that execute is just so powerful in the early game, right? And then we see the Aurora coming out away from Braddles, the Lee Sin take that away from Dermot as well. So some pretty stock standard bans so far.
Yeah, I think we will be seeing Aurora is the start of what is about to be many mid bans. Really, I don't think they're going to want to see his Victor. I'm hoping for a bit of a Vex ban. I do know Braddles plays a decent amount of Vex, and I would love to see that in this tournament. But as you mentioned, there it is, the Swain completely gone.
Yeah, I mean, this jungle pool, though, I'm a little bit worried for Holy Crusaders here, because even though it's being shrunk down, there's still so many options, right? We haven't even seen the Mundo come out recently, which has been a sleeper pick in the past few patches. You know, there's so many different options. The Grave's going to be banned as that last pick away from Arya here. And now we get into the real meat and potatoes of this draft. Who is this first pick going to be? Are they going to give it... Are they going to first pick away the Cassante? It won't be. It's going to be this Jhin.
On the Jhin.
Very unusual pick. You don't see it a lot recently.
I feel like that's a bit of a risky first pick. A very easy ADC to counter. So it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe Arya has plans to sort of hover bot side here to ensure that the strong counter doesn't come in as J4 is locked.
Yeah, a mobile 80 carry going up against the Jarvan and the Kai'Sa. This is going to be a very easy lane to exploit. And this is Violet's Kai'Sa. This isn't just any random solo queue Masters player. This is
a threat.
One of the scariest Kai'Sas on the server.
Absolutely. And the counter to that is going to be a Rel from Kane here. Now, Jhin Rel,
see how this lane matches up,
Ooh, I believe that's Arya Gwen. If I'm correct,
that could be
Arya Gwen.
I haven't seen too much of Vestian's Gwen before, so probably will be going towards that jungle. Pretty solid clear overall, has the dash as well, so can get a good situation going if the 1v1 against that Jarvan happens, and the Camille to round out that first pick. So definitely anticipating the Cassante, you have to imagine.
Yes, absolutely. But look at, honestly, on Rush Hour's team, we're getting a lot of lockdown with this J4 ult, with this Camille ult, and with the follow-up from with the Kai'Sa. The classic would be if Complex just locks something beautiful like a Galio. We could get that absolutely beautiful combo, Galio R, Hero's Entrance on the Camilla. I would love to see it. As we get a Renekton, Bastion's Renekton taken out of the pool.
Yeah, they might look to just commit a few bans here towards that top lane, maybe force him onto something like the Mbessa. Never mind, the Mbessa immediately banned away, so definitely trying to bait him into this Cassante pick.
That's interesting. It's gonna be a bit of a gamble because it might work out for Bastion. You should never underestimate the Bastion on his main pick.
Absolutely, and banning away that Galio.
Yeah, there
like
it is.
You mentioned, so getting rid of that wombo combo, especially with the Jarvan, that would be absolutely disgusting. Especially, I mean, it would just allow Violet to pop off in those fights with the Killer Instinct. Rakan to lock in as well. Pretty solid bot lane and not too shabby in towards this Rel lane. It's not that bad of a matchup. Ornn,
Bastion
lock in here for Bastion. It's another one of those stable tanks. I've seen a few games of it, and I like what I see so far. And rounding it out with that Azir. So quite strong team fight if they can get those ultimates ready.
Yeah. Looking at, and speak of the devil, and she may appear. There's the Mel lock-in. There is the Mel lock-in. Now, we did actually see the Mel Azir matchup the other day. It didn't go too well for that Azir. Now, that was mostly due to ganks and other instances. But I'm wondering if we're going to repeat or if Braddles is going to sort of twist the tide, turn the favor, so to speak. We are going to get into the first game, I think.
They've got so much extra CC as well to make this Mel work. It's going to be incredibly powerful if it's online. We can see that new skin as well.
The
You'll
lawyer.
love to see it.
Love it. Love it.
Lawyer, Azir. Love to see it. Towards the jungle.
I will just
the
say,
stock standard.
looking at comps, Holy Crusaders comp is very AP heavy, significantly AP heavy. And they actually have, Rush Hour's comp has a lot of ways to itemize against that. That J4, that Camille can very easily build more, and it's going to make later game team fights, once a bit of MR is collected, somewhat difficult. And I think that means that the comp is going to rely around this Jhin. I think we have to be playing around this Jhin. We have to be allowing our only exit of AD into the game. We need to allow him to flourish and to perform.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard situation to really gank this bot lane, though, with when you sort of want to farm up in the early game, and especially on Rakan, which as a champion is pretty good at buying Merc Treads if he wants it. Gonna have to see how things go and how this lane, already a little bit of a how do you do from Ayamiro to get a little bit of lane prio, is not expecting anything out of the ordinary, unlike what we saw yesterday with the chaos that ensued in that early game.
We did see a lot of really early fighting and long extended teams as well. I don't believe with the comps here, and considering these comps are a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit more sort of mid to late game focused, I don't believe we'll be getting such so much chaos. But honestly, I would love to be proved wrong. As the level 2 is hit.
Grand entrance. Gonna get dodged out, but still forcing them off with that Void Seeker as well. Top lane going about as well as you'd expect. A little bit of a trade, just stacking up these grasp.
Slow matchup for the top lane.
Big chunk of damage, but it is off the timer of that grasp, so won't get too much of a favorable outcome there. Level 3 as well, can always pressure for at least a big chunk of damage. Doesn't have the ignite this time around. Good unstoppable.
Beautiful buffer.
Means there isn't really a whole lot of follow-up, so Vestian will live to tell the tale here. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Rattles. Good trade. Goes on in, has that lethal tempo, so won't have too much in the way of that adaptive force that a Conqueror would otherwise provide.
In terms of the Gwen pick, what are we looking at for dodging abilities with that? What's the most value we can make out of it?
Luckily, you've got a lot of mobility, right? You've also got that Ghost as well on that low cooldown. The dash as well, I believe the cooldown decreases from auto attack, so you've got a fair amount of mobility as a whole. You're really wanting to dodge out of the way of that EQ. Luckily, Grand Entrance is pretty televised, like where it's going to be, so it's not terribly hard to dodge if you're coming in for this gank, but not really any position to gank here. You sort of just have to go for the herbivore route and just continue to farm.
Very peaceful game, at least in the start.
Ooh. Arya didn't spot that ward. So we'll have a little bit of information. Not going to go for it, just trying to sneak this back, but that's huge information here for Rush Hour.
It's a game of patience, at least in this early game, as I think both teams don't want to sort of blow up anything yet. They just want to sort of scope each other out, see how they want to play, as one single action could spell the downfall or the upwind of one of these teams' game.
This might be the most tame early game we've seen all tournament so far.
It really has been. The only fighting has been between these two supports here.
Good stop on the back there from Bulldog. Managed to juke out the way and land that Q in time. Void Seeker, or if that would have hit, could maybe go for it.
Zarya lead
is looking for something, but this gank, I mean, doesn't really have a whole lot to work with here. No ignite, no red buff to get that slow. Vestian might be in a little bit of trouble here, but Derma's still level 4. So not a great situation to gank. Can buffer if he times it right. So yeah, probably just sticking to the farming in this early game as gold continues to be about even.
It's a difficult lane for a J4 to gank as well, and with that interaction of the E breaking the ult wall. So any sort of lockdown you have is not going to be ultimately that useful. Only the Camille, and with all the other CC being able to be buffered by that Bellows Breath, their reliance so strong on that Camilla, and Bastion gets tanky enough. Gonna have Derma having to look elsewhere.
Now, I believe Camille ult can be stopped by the Bellows Breath as well. I think that stops I think it stops the Hex from going down. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm not an player usually.
Honestly, that sounds pretty dead on the money.
Yeah. So if that is the case, you're really gonna have to find that angle of opportunity for Strawberries and Derma to get that combo off. If the dive, if any sort of a gank is possible towards this top laner's grand entrance, potentially towards mid, a lot of fighting going on at the moment. Ayamiru just forced off under the tower. Nice chunk of damage. The plasma will proc. But no summoners burned either way. Vestian, not a good sign of that trade there. Yeah, that true damage is a bit much to be reckoned with.
Still has any of that armor building. Completely useless, unfortunately.
Yeah. Has those bickies though, so we'll heal up a fair amount in the meantime as Dragon on the board here. Solid Ocean Drake to start things off. That's going to help out in this laning phase as Vestian might be in a little bit of trouble. Strawberries doesn't get the buffer. Big chunk of damage. Looking for it. Almost gets the solo kill. Forced to flash away.
Screen for the dive.
Vestian. I was not familiar with your game. Goes on in. Takes a big chunk of damage. Somehow tanks the tower. Oh, probably from the Cinder. And almost falls for that greed. As meanwhile,
it was a very well played ult.
Dreamer Shuffle fails in mid. I believe hit the rebuttal, so was able to block at least the CC of it in time. Good buffer on that as failed gank in mid. Bit of action, but still no kills.
It was very well played from Vestian, a real show of mechanics there. And then just greeting for that dive at the end, unfortunately, wasn't enough with the Camille passive shield coming in to stop that last bit of damage. But it was still blowing both flashes is really good to remove that flash engage from Camille as potentially grubs and as people move topside, as we get Rakan coming up as a bit of a lane swap has come through.
Yeah, Jarvan, level 6 online, gets the back, gets that pickaxe. They're going to be quite strong here as a bit of a dive attempt there, but there's the Bellows Breath again. Just trying to zone away any and all CS here from Vestian is chunked to half health. Meanwhile, like you mentioned, that role swap, that lane swap rather, to come on out. Strawberries continuing to farm. Very difficult situation. You don't want to let this Camille get too much. Just snowball away in a side lane as all three grubs going to be secured here. So looking to get these objectives together.
They are wanting to fight it.
Hang on, there might be a bit of a fight. Double DC chain almost finds it. Cataclysm to go in. No wall to be stopped there. And they're trapped inside the pit for the moment. One kill. It's traded on back though. And they will get a third grub. So just the 1-for-1 to end it all off.
A very confident decision to go for these grubs as well as the dragon. And you see that Holy Crusaders did not want to give both objectives so freely as they all seem to collapse, counter collapse to ensure that it stopped. You saw it was unfortunate, but we did see a little bit of the action in terms of how that J4 ult is going to work with a team comp such as this. And it was just unlucky.
Hang on a moment. Oh, Bulldog might be in a little bit of trouble. Fourth shot, the flash is clean. And that's a second kill on the board for Holy Crusaders.
And a plate to boot as well as the gold evens out. And now it is going to be... I will say, Violet played that teamfight very nicely, dodging multiple skill shots. And Ayamaru had appeared in the backline to hit a couple of those roots there. But good micro stopped any sort of extra kills there.
Now towards this bot lane again, just continuing to farm up. Both these teams realizing they need to get to that late game if they have any chance of closing things out cleanly. Big chunk of damage. That's the Ornn for you. Now, equal tempo stacking. Doesn't want to go too far in. Knows that the Call of the Forge God is still there. With the Rakan info, not exactly a play you want to go for unless you're absolutely confident.
I'm hoping that the communication has been kept up to ensure that Rush Hour understands not to underestimate this Ornn. We've already seen him.
Yeah.
You know, we've already seen a couple members of the crew underestimated, and it always turns badly on them. And now Violet and Strawberries both know something could come out of this Forge God.
Waiting around for these objectives, it seems a minute 15 for the Cloud Drake. Got to imagine Rush Hour is going to try and set up some vision around that. We see the back coming in now from Bulldog. Going to get those wards online.
And I believe we're seeing as well in J4, we're going for a Profane Hydra build and really aiming for damage here. That's going to be ensuring a slightly weaker front line in terms of tankiness and survivability. But once you get 2 lethality items online, that full combo is going to be able to do a lot of damage. And I think the aim of this J4 is only angling for this Jhin, blowing up this Jhin as swiftly and as quickly as he can, because I would like to believe that they are aware of the AP skews of Team Crusaders.
Yeah, usually you see that Sun Sky as now Derma might be paying for that itemization with his life, goes on in, takes a big chunk of damage. Not dead just yet, but the Feat of Warfare claimed by Ayamiru. And that's exactly not what you want to see 10 seconds before the Drake spawns.
It's without the tankiness, without the health, without the extra healing from the Sundered Sky, you can just see how squishy that J4 is, finding himself falling to just a couple of the Jhin shots. Hopefully maybe they'll learn from this as a TP comes through.
Yeah, he's just not really tanky enough to go for that just yet as they dive on in towards the dragon. Going to be claimed by Arya this time around as going in once again. Golden Eclipse not going to find a kill, but that's too instantly. Vestian might have the angle to work with. Braddle's in the pit, dodges out of the way, bellows breath in towards the corner. Violet is kiting, still alive for the moment. Can Vestian somehow find this? Look at the health bars running away, won't be able to. It's 5-5 on the board, a double kill for Violet.
What a team fight. What a team fight. The huge TP flank from the Ornn there with a really nice triple knock-up. And it was almost perfect. It was just unfortunate. The actual ram, the knock-up of the ult just missed. And it was still a positive for Holy Crusaders as they do collect that dragon, and Ayamiru finds himself getting out. But it evens out a little bit so as the gold lead goes in Rush Hour's favor.
First items on the board, pretty much across the board for these teams. Bulldogs got that redemption as well, so any fights in the meantime are going to be a bit precarious for Holy Crusader to take. Minute 46 on that Herald, so just going to be playing around maybe some towers in the meantime.
We saw as well in that team fight how much, maybe at least in this game, Amel might struggle into a comp such as this. I was watching or keeping steady eye on that Mel, on her E's and on her Q's, and she got a decent amount of damage on the Gwen and attempted to ult it. That hallowed mist just completely invalidates all damage that she's got. And so it's going to be really hard when this Gwen hits the Nashers, hits the Riftmaker, hits the Rabbit on power spikes, and is putting out so much damage, because besides the ADC, besides Violet, there's not much that can stop her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a little bit difficult to get into that position as Braddles could be in a little bit of trouble here. Derma has the ult, so does Bulldog. Heavy pushing into this lane. You got to imagine someone knows. There's 4 people here. Violet doesn't have the ult to work with. The heal to come on. And looking for the angle. Good shuffle in towards the wall. Might be able to find something. Never mind. This Complex picks that up basically for free. And this Mel is starting to get those items online, get those kills, and might be a menace come late game.
Yeah, a very coordinated dive from Rush Hour there with very little counterplay. It was attempted to from Braddles with that Shurima shuffle, but it just still wasn't enough, and didn't seem anything to be collected on the bot side as this Camille gains a very large CS lead over Vestion here.
Breathing on this tower as well. Kane's going to be spotted for the moment. Chunked down to half, so will be open towards that Herald if they can get the charge off and maybe claim that objective. Under those kills, the Feat of War was claimed by Crusaders, so they do have that advantage going in towards this next fight. They haven't really had the chance to push towards one of these towers yet. Kane might be in a little bit of trouble. Big chunk of damage. The Metal Maelstrom going to come on in, looking for it, and just not enough follow-up damage. Maybe lives to tell the tale. Call of the Forge God almost hits him, and it will be the Golden Eclipse to finish off that support. And now, how does the rest of this fight go? Curtain call. Forces them off for the moment. Big chunk of damage. No ult available just yet for this Rakan, so it will be the free Rift Herald here for the side of Holy Crusaders.
Really unfortunate from Vestion there, allowing that Mel to rebuttal the ult. Allowed for the extra hit onto Kane, which allowed the passive of Mel to execute Kane there. Just a series of unfortunate events for sure. But that idea, that constant pressure of the rebuttal needs to be kept in mind by Team Crusaders, because with so many projectiles on the team, so many skill shots that can be reflected, we can't be forgetting. We cannot be forgetting. We've got to keep on the ball. Hopefully that will act as a sort of reminder.
And it's the little ones as well, right? It's the Gwen ult, right? If that Gwen ult stacks up to 3, that's a lot of damage being reflected back that you don't really think about in the heat of the moment. So really it's going to come down to, can Complex get these angles, save the timing enough for that ability? Is playing with fire around the river here. 20 seconds, hang on a moment, Violet could be looking for something. Killer Instinct not online, so not able to secure that kill, but a big chunk of damage. This Kai'Sa rather, is just insane here. With 7 seconds left, they're just going to probably cleanly secure this objective. Will mean that feat will go in favor of Rush Hour.
Yeah, the 2-item Kai'Sa is a really scary one, and you can just see the absolute burst of damage combined with that passive. It can shred this Jhin, and considering we're about to get a Rift Herald, there might be a little fight in the mid lane here.
Yeah, they will claim that objective, and it will be on the board. Hang on a moment, the ult's there, and Violet's trapped in for the moment. Arya is just melting them, finds the angle, and it will be enough just about to claim those kills, and they collapse with ease in the mid lane.
You might even look for a tier 2 here, as there
Somehow
seemed to have been
got solo killed in the top lane. Hang on a moment.
We might have missed
the camera. I don't know how that
went on there. Would have known what's gone on there, but do take that tier 2, which is going to be evening out the gold even more.
This Observer has an agenda. I love it.
Yeah, that was seemingly a little bit targeted there at poor Vestion.
The Strawberries might be in a little bit of trouble here. Gonna be forced to flash. Probably will get out at the very least. Hang on a moment. Curtain call. Maybe might have the angle to work with. Collector not online. Doesn't land the final shot. Good hook shot to get there to safety. Not going to pay the price for that misstep. Zayte still the score.
It's a very nice dodge, and we can take a look at the gold scores here. Take a look at Arya's gold rate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is a hefty lead on that.
That's what, what's that? 9 camp lead over Derma at this point is absolutely insane. I mean, and that's what you want to see from the Gwen, right? You don't have the ganking potential of someone like the Vi, someone like the Jarvan. So you just got to scale. You got to get those items online. 2 items, 4 items, those spikes are really huge for this Gwen, and you really want to get that available as soon as possible, because we saw what happened in the mid lane when there is a fed Gwen, and it's not something you want to be face to face with.
Running down that enemy team is what this Gwen is looking to do, and you can see the confidence in the items as well. A Dark Seal has been picked up with 7 stacks already collected. I'm wondering if you're thinking the same thing, is that going to be turned into a Magi?
Oh, hang on a moment. Oh! Violet's just doing Violet things, I guess.
Wow, evidently.
A solo kill in the mid lane. Just what you'd expect from one of the best players the region has produced now. And have to collapse to try and make up for that, and it will give Complex an opening to get that bot lane tower online. And Rush Hour, they do have that gold lead, and they have the room to work with as Artican spawns, and Kai'Sa is so incredibly starting at taking this down.
Look at her shredded. It's already down to 10k here as Kane moves in.
They can't even go in. He's gonna miss. But we'll have a lot less PC capability here, but look at the angle. Grand entrance. They're going to dive on in,
steal.
looking for it. And it will be the steal here for Arya. You called it perfectly. Golden Eclipse lands onto 2. Call of the Forge God goes completely wide. And now, how does the rest of the fight go? Violet still alive for the moment. Doesn't get the execute. Barely misses the threshold. And now Vestian has to do something. Has to be the hero. But it won't be enough. And it's just down to Ayamiru, the Collector, in the hand. And that's a double kill for Violet to end things off, an ace for Rush Hour.
Wow, I mean, another just impactful, crazy team fight. We saw, I love the fact that we get pretty much a repeat of the other day. Arya just walking in, activating that Hallowed Mist, and taking that Atakan right under the nose of Derma. He does not care at all. And unfortunately, the team fight turned a little bit anti them, but still getting that Atakan buff is it's going to be so huge. Although the gold has skewed strongly in Rush Hour's favor from that fight.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're Violet right now, missing out on that purification, the passive from the Atakan is going to be, it's going to hurt. But for the side of Ayamira especially, who's been sort of the saving grace of this team so far, those executes are going to be even more potent. Over the wall here, maybe not a position you want to be in, Kane. You have Flash available, looking for it, but just doesn't get it off in time. The swiftness is there, and now Arya has to collapse as well, but inside the mist means you can still attack. It's a 1-for-1 trade there as Brattle's trying to do something, trades it back as well. 2 for 2 at the end of the day, both supports and jungles.
You saw the use of that Hallowed Mist, and that Hallowed Mist is coming in handy. There was no angle for Violet to get in, and it's almost a bit counterintuitive. The J4 chose to ult the Gwen, and that bubble just sort of allowed the Hallowed Mist to sit in there like a soap bubble, and there was no opening for Violet to even get a single auto in. And it's just, it's going to make the rest of this game so tricky for this J4 to play, who seems to be picking up a death stance at the same time.
Yeah, this lethality build is going to be less and less impactful the further this game goes, because even the tankier, Sundered Sky build does a lot of damage, right? And as the teams get tankier, especially with Mountain Soul, could potentially mean that we might see the build be changed up as Kane in a bit of trouble here. Call of the Forge God, Curtain Call, going to be sent back. That might get the execute on towards Bulldog, but it won't be enough just there. Now, Violet's going to run down Vestian. Look at that to tell the tail. Look at that attack speed. That's lethal tempo fully stacked. Swiftness to come on in, grand entrance, and just melting this tank here. Violet is 9-1. And this is becoming a slaughter, even with the Artican on their side.
The angles that this Kai'Sa has available to her, she doesn't even need to be using in these team fights. She is putting out so much damage at this 3-item power spike here. There seems to be shutdown there by Brattles onto Complex there.
And that's sort of the misstep that can occur in this matchup as well, right? You can't really allow the Azir to just free hit you like that, because you can't do anything about it. You can't rebuttal anything in that kit. So the kill traded over, and this Azir is stacking up, right? This is 2-item Azir, has the empowered boots as well. After that kill, is probably gonna be able to back and maybe get upgraded boots, probably some more. Have to see is.
I'm a big fan of Azir's path, actually. Brattles has gone for a more sort of supportive with the second, which and look at that.
Zonya's third. By the looks of things,
Shattered Arm Guard complete there. That's going to allow... We did see in that dragon fight the Camille lockdown. Hopefully another solo doesn't occur here. But we did see in that dragon fight Camille locking on to Brattles there. And he was able to push her away and sort of, ruin the tempo of that engage. But I think Brattles is aware that he might be considered a threat now. His 3 items are certainly on the way.
Kai'Sa with the abilities empowered is just an absolute nuisance, right? The extra movement speed from that hypercharge, it's impossible to play against here. Now with Complex mid, over the wall, they've got the combo to work with. They're going to go for it. This is a very early engage, Bulldog, and it might not be enough. Going on in with the swiftness, sends it back in the direction, so not able to knock it away in time. Streamer Shuffle only lands onto 1. Meanwhile, diving onto the backline, Ayamiru is going to live to tell the tale of this lethality. Jarvan is just not doing enough in the fight. It will be a 1-for-2 trade at the end of it all.
Yeah, I saw the vision of what Derma wanted there with the engage, but this build is really making it tricky. He has no survivability, and that tower combined with the Jin shots, even with the death, without the health from any items, he's just got base health that he's looking at here, and it's not enough to be doing the plans that he's going for.
Arya's dead, so it means that they might get a free objective. There's no smite for them either, except for Bulldog with that spell book. Not even going to need it though. It will be complex, claiming that 50,000 gold for this team.
They really understand how much and how quick this Kai'Sa can rinse objectives, and they are utilizing that aspect so well. They're going for every objective, and they are just rinsing it down as quickly as possible, and stealing away any sort of control that Holy Crusaders can get.
And with this Baron on the line, that's the Banshee Veil completed. Killing Violet has become basically impossible. It was hard before. It is basically impossible now. Minute 40 until Soul Point is online. They've got Baron for that long. Going to use this to clear out the vision, gain as much room as they can in the bot side, and just build up their items for this objective, because at that point, I struggle to find a way, even with the Artican, the Holy Crusaders can come back in this game.
Yeah, well, there is one way, and we saw it here. Vestion, not just a team player, but, you know, showing even more helping towards his team as he's upgraded the Arya's Nash's Tooth there. And if those Ornn upgrades can come through, we're looking at a lot of extra gold applied to the team, and potentially helping them out at least a little bit more.
That's a wrap cap on Mel. This is going to be nasty.
Okay, yeah. It's going to be grim, just in terms of long-range damage.
Both of those tier 2s taken as well. The entirety of the jungle is now in control of Rush Hour. There's a few scattered wards here and there, and they do have some TP flank options, but they're not giving them any room to work with here. Violet in top lane going to push that in as well. 20 seconds. They're not going to do Dragon on spawn. It looks like potentially Arya might look to go and steal that away. You have pretty fast objectives with the Nash Tooth, but will it be fast enough?
Yeah, and take a look at the gold lead now with these tier 2s down, as it's just exploded. 8k on the side of Rush Hour. We saw in that last fight as well, the rebuttal blocking not just the Ornn ult, but also the third Gwen R recast. And losing out on that, just that much damage. Spelt really did spell the demise, as this Gwen holds so much strength these games.
And now, Violet in a little bit of trouble. Shurima Shuffle has the angle to work with. No Banshee Veil available. Looking for the angle. Barely lives. Not going to be enough just yet. Gets out for the moment. Arya claims it. Curtain Call available. Has the Collector as well. Bulldog incredibly low. Finds it. Looking for a fourth. But the fourth shot is rebuked.
Oh,
and that's a double kill for Complex. And what a way to do it here. Vestion, the last left standing, but won't be long for the world. Not even going to need the execute. Camille will be the one to find the ace for Rush Hour.
This Mel champion! This champion is so crazy! This champion is absurd! That's the best thing Jin's got, that final fourth shot, and he just sends it right back. Australia, New Zealand post, straight to your doorstep. Good lord. So much damage.
Even waved the stamps and all that, just immediately sent it back. And that, I mean, this is why you play Mel. It's for moments like that, and you love to see it, right? 10 and 2 for both of these carry, right? They've got the Shattered Arm Guards. They're going to complete that Zhonya's, and then at that point, how can you even fight them at that point?
Yeah, we actually saw in that team fight around the river, everyone was so localized on Violet there. And the moment that Violet popped that Zhonya's, Arya and a couple of the others just sort of stood around waiting for the Zhonya's to end. But that just allowed Complex to get so much other damage out. And now, once, as you said, once those Zhonya's are complete, you've got that ×2. There's two people that you've got a beeline for, but they've both got so much survivability. Who do you go for? How do you lock them down?
and the ocean, sorry, the mountain soul rather as well.
Yep.
Like
no poke is going to be helpful.
Even if you get rid of the Banshees, even if you get rid of the Zhonyas, you've still got to contend with 133 armor on this Kai'Sa. 104 magic resistance. You are not killing this Kai'Sa. Hang on, I might have spoken a bit too soon. They're going to send everything onto it. Bestian is the one to claim the kill. And now the Cataclysm as well. I spoke too soon. As it might be enough. Hang on a moment. Strawberries is here. Nice hook shot. Will it be enough? Good dodge on the rebuke. But they don't have the damage just yet. Strawberries, this Camille might have the angle to work with. Big chunk of damage on towards Arya, and it will be enough. Even taking these carries down, this Camille is so solid. Kane, the last left standing, just going to fall all the same. They're going to give the kill over the Bulldog. The ace once again, and Rush Hour is looking for the win.
Wow, I mean, that was the perfect storm. It was exactly what we were saying could never happen, and it did happen. But still, the rest of the team was there to follow up. It does not matter if you take out that 10-3 Kai'Sa, because there's going to be a Fed
Amira, I don't know if you want this.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not going to end well for you. The ace, once again, as the Jhin will fall. The one saving grace of this team is the last left standing. No one's going to even be left alive to see this Nexus fall other than the Captain Brattles. Never mind, not even that at this point. Bestian just has to sit and watch the base fall. And Rush Hour will dominate this game.
Wow. Well, that's first game out of the way, and what a crazy game it is. Another game of Mel domination. But you cannot deny Violet's Kai'Sa is just beautiful. It is a work of art. Absolutely.
I mean, this is something that gave, 80 carries in the LCO nightmares, right? Now we're seeing it in this tournament, arguably the best pick that this player has ever played. I mean, he's got a deep champion pool, right? The Xayah and everything. But these carries, man, the Mel as well. I mean, I love the champion. What can I say? That was just dominance from pretty much from start to finish for this team.
It was really absurd. It was, once again, I know I'm just a broken record, a parrot saying how close these games are, but until that sort of Arakan sweep into Baron happened, the game was so close. There was so much going on, but in those tiny moments, Violet just clawing ahead, getting every piece of gold, a couple solos on Ayameru, just allowed for that gold lead and those item power spikes to come into play when they needed to come into play. You could see the domination throughout. I also wanted to mention as well, the J4 build. Listen, I was not a fan with the Profane Hydra into Death Dance, but I have to give it to him that GA at the end, still no health items on that build.
Yeah.
The GA at the end bought so much time, and he lived to be able to finish the game with the rest of his team there.
And this was Rush Hour with two of their subs, right? Mudley and Tezza didn't play this game, right? This is them at 60% strength. Not to say that Derma and Complex are bad, right? Complex did amazingly. Derma had those moments of shine, but this is not the team that at its core. And this is something that's going to be very, very scary going into the rest of this tournament.
Absolutely. And we will get back into the rest of this tournament after a quick break, which we'll take right now.